Welcome to the short video tutorial on how to hatch objects using AutoCAD. Let's begin by creating three rectangular objects. Draw my first one, my second one, and a third one. Escape to clear the commands. Now I'd like to go ahead and hatch them. The way I hatch them is by using the hatch command in the draw group. So here it is here, the hatch command. Once I click that, a different ribbon appears and I have some options. On the top left, I can decide if I want to pick a point or select an object. Pick points is the default setting, so if I hover the cursor over a particular area, you'll see that I'm picking that point to hatch. It looks for a boundary. If I go down here, you'll see it will hatch that smaller object, and similarly over there. So I'm going to go ahead and choose a pattern that I'd like to use. This one is selected. Let's change it. Let's go to the herringbone pattern. I've selected the pick point function. If I hover over this area, you'll see that it is now hatching that in a particular pattern. I'm going to modify this pattern now. I'd like it to perhaps be at an angle, so I'm going to use the angle slider here and maybe change that to 85, and you'll see that change the pattern. I'm going to left click here just to select that hatch. Enter. Okay, so if I zoom in on it, you can see that it's nicely hatched. Maybe I'd like that pattern to be a little bit larger. So if I select it, I have the opportunity now to change the scale. So let's change the scale to 2, see what that does. Push enter, and you'll see that the hatching gets a bit larger. Right, so that's that object hatched in a herringbone pattern. Let's now go ahead and maybe hatch this rectangle here. So I'm going to do something different now. I'm going to select the hatch, but I'm going to use select objects instead of picking points. And if I now click on the object, you'll see that the whole object is selected. Well, I'm not happy with the pattern. I would like to maybe change the pattern. So let's go ahead now and change that to the earth pattern. And you'll see that the earth pattern is by default a lot denser than the herringbone pattern. So what I'd like to do is to make sure that I can actually see the pattern. I'm going to select it, select the hatch. Apologies, my computer is running very slow today. And then the scale, I'm going to change that to, what should we do? 0.5. Did it make much difference? No, not much difference. Let's maybe make it 50. Enter. There we go. It's looking much better. I'm not happy with the rotation, so let's go ahead and change that. Select it. Angle. I'll put an angle here of 45, and that makes it look considerably different. Escape to clear. Goodness gracious, computer. Goodness gracious. Having a hard time here. Well, let's hatch that. Well, maybe let's just differentiate by color. So I'm going to select the hatching, and I'm going to change the color to color blue. Let's go blue. Right. That's that. Notice how it is hatched over the rectangle behind it because I've decided to hatch this rectangular object. Let's go ahead now and complete the hatching procedure. I'm going to hatch this portion, this little portion of this rectangle. Hatch. Pick point, and pick this point over here, and it's gone back to the one I previously used. Escape to clear. I'm going to select it again. I want to change the color to color 9, and I'm going to change the pattern to something a bit more respectable, this air concrete, and I would like to change the scale. No, I'm happy with the scale as it is. So let's maybe change the scale to scale 1. Right. And there we have it over there. Zoom in a bit, you can see it looks like a concrete fill pattern. Let's say now that I want to do this the rest here quickly, so let me now again hatch that. I'm going to pick points. This point over here, I want to use also the air concrete pattern. And we'll leave it in green, am I? Now I'm going to change it to another color. Let's go with cyan. Good. There it is. Now I've effectively hatched all these different rectangles using either the select object or pick point. I've changed the scale, I've changed the angle, and I've changed the color, which are the most common features. Well, let's apply this to a drawing that we might understand a bit better. Let's zoom out here and let's draw a typical section through a trench. I'm going to go ahead and choose a different line color maybe. Let's go with yellow. I'm going to start off by drawing some lines. This is my natural ground coming down here. Then going to have a trench, steep-sided vertical trench, typical excavation type drawing, and ultimately I'm going to have a pipe inside my trench. Let me draw a pipe here for you. Of course, you know where to find the offsets to the different offsets to the sides from the various pipe diameters. Good. Now, on its own, the drawing looks a bit bland. Maybe what I'd like to do is to give some kind of pattern to indicate that it's being excavated in soil. So I'm going to go ahead and change my color again, back to color 9. Select the polyline button, and I'm now going to draw in a polyline which I'm ultimately going to hatch in order to show a bit of details for the for the natural ground material around my trench, just to give my drawing a bit more detail. Let's go ahead and finish up here quickly. All the various vertices need to be covered. Right click, close. Notice that it's drawn this grey line. I'm going to go ahead and hatch that. I'm going to select an object, select my polyline. There it is. Of course, I'm going to use a different pattern here. Let's go with the earth pattern that we had earlier. Can we even find it? Is it still here? It must be here. Oh, I did see it. Where is it? There it is. Earth pattern. Density again is too much. Let's change that to 50. Come on, AutoCAD. Keep up. There's the 50. And maybe I'd like to change the angle a bit here. Let's see what I like. That looks a bit better. And the color I want to change to color 9, so it doesn't print out so dark. Good, there it is. So there I have some hatching, but that looks a bit weird. Let me go ahead and select the boundary of the hatch. I'm going to delete that, and notice now that the yellow line, which is the ground line, will remain dark. The hatching is now a lighter color and it doesn't have a boundary around it. Look what happens when I select the hatching. You'll see it automatically has its own boundary, so there is now an opportunity to modify the shape if I'm not entirely happy with it, like around this corner here. I can simply just stretch it out and move it as I would like it to be. Good, thank you so very much for watching this video tutorial. I hope you found it useful. Stay tuned for a few more tutorials coming up in the near future.